So finally, after almost a month of waiting, the older Nanocores are now available on the new bomber class battleships. And well, that means it's time to equip the Burning Knight Nanocore on the Hyperion and, well, time to see what this monster can do. Now, the Burning Knight Nanocore is probably one of the more rare Nanocores. It was given out as a event reward, I think like 3 or 4 years ago. It's been a while. And I was lucky enough to get my hands on this Nanocore. Our corporation basically did win a good position, and the reward was the Nanocore. Now, I wouldn't be flying the ship if I did not have a Nanocore for it. In this case, the only reason why I even did fly the Hyperion is because of the Nanocore. The extra repair bonus from the Nanocore was just nice, and was just too nice to miss out on. And I did have a really tanky Hyperion back in the day. It was kind of crazy how tanky that thing was for repairs and was capacitor stable. Now I wanted to do something similar with this ship. The only difference is that this thing repairs 2 times more than the old Hyperion, with a lot cheaper rigs. Now, I'm still using the rigs that I had on the ship since I bought it, since I, well, got the ship, and I do have plans to steal the rigs from the Balagorn and put those rigs into the Hyperion bomber. I should get an extra 20 to 30 to 50% actually, I think it's 50% extra repair, while also having around 85 to 88% armor resistance. Since on the Balagorn I have 4P70 rigs with very expensive integrations. I mean, it has some very expensive stuff on it, so it would be a good rig set for this ship. And here you can take a look at the armor, almost like around 500,000 hit points, which is actually pretty nice. And I also I think armor wise I can enhance that even more. I didn't level up the golden attribute on the Nanocore, but 6.7 thousand armor repaired per repairer, and I have 3 of them. Now the capacitor does say 11 minutes. Actually, when I'm flying this and when 3 of them are active, it is capacitor stable. It doesn't really show that, but it is capacitor stable since I've already tested it out and it works with all 3 repairs active, with the Nosferatu and with the Bastion module enabled, of course. Now, just to show you how much one repair repairs, let me just find a normal battleship, just to show you how much armor does one repair on a classic battleship. I think it's around 1,000, maybe a bit more than 1,000 armor per cycle. So technically, one repair on the Hyperion bomber right now repairs like 4 or 5 repairs on a normal battleship with no armor repair stats, which is kind of wild, and that alone makes the bomber battleships in general like mini Dreadnoughts, or should I say Marauders from EVE Online. That's basically what they're meant to be. So if you do have this Nanocore, or if you do have a different Nanocore with repair stats, it is definitely worth to get the ship for Nanocore and to fly the ship with the Nanocore, because with the right build you can really build something funny. And this Hyperion that I'm going to be flying today is not the final version of it. Again, I want better rigs, more expensive rigs, and I will still be working to enhance the repair even more. Fairly sure I can double that quite easily just with better rigs, since I use quite the cheap integration setup at the moment. It is cheap, but it is still overkill for the most part. But I still want to do something quite funny with it, because why not? And 1.4 thousand armor repaired on this ship with no rigs or stats or skill stats for the armor repair. So that's just the difference in armor repair. In order to match the Hyperion bombers repair on this ship, I would have to fit 4 or 5 repairs, and that is still not going to be anywhere close to what that monstrosity of ship can do. So, within the current state, as I already mentioned, the ship outperforms my old Hyperion, my old expensive Hyperion, easily overpowers it by double. That's just the minimum difference in repair is double. I was able to repair like 70-80% armor per cycle. With the same build on this ship, I would be able to repair the whole armor with one cycle. I think 120% of armor would be repaired on the old Hyperion with you know, if I had the same rigs and all that on this ship, on that ship, it would definitely be that much, which is actually impressive when you think about it. So, if the new event is out, I'll run a little mission as well, because I want to see what the mission is all about. And
autopilot engaged.
I will be testing out the... I really want to see how much this ship can repair in a cycle, how much percent it can repair, and how quickly it will recover the whole armor.
Warp drive active.
It will be fun to see how that will look. Now, the old Hyperion didn't have like 95,000 armor hit points, it had like 35,000, and that's why it was so easy to repair that, because at the time, no implants, none of that, just rigs and modules and skills, of course. So repairing 35,000 armor per cycle was really crazy at the time. I think it still is, but with this ship, since you have a lot of armor, it's not going to have the same impact, but you will definitely notice the large volume of armor being recovered per cycle. The fact that you have a lot of armor and good resistance means that this ship will definitely take a lot of damage. It's able to take a lot of damage, and by the end of this video, or maybe even tomorrow, I don't know, it depends when I feel like disassembling the Battleworm, this ship's stats will be vastly improved. And I'm kind of looking forward to see how the final build will look and work. Now, this ship did see some combat, did see some action, did see some PvP, so kind of already have some expectations with it. In PvP, from one of the previous videos, I used only one repair to tank everything. There wasn't really the need to have 2 of them active, or even 3. I think with 3 repairs that did some serious incoming damage, and very few... I mean, you need a fleet to bring such amount of damage, and even then, in that case, I think I would be using 4 repairs. So, need to do some more testing to see how it will work now, and need to do the same test with the better equipment, since again, with close to 90% resistance with better integrations and with much better repairs that I will have compared to what I have here. I mean, this is still good repairs, good tank, but I'm always aiming to see what I can improve, and I think it should be able to hold really well already. It should be really good. When it comes to armor repair, this is probably the best armor repair battleship in the game at the moment. Definitely outperforms the Hyperion. Outperforms the Hyperion by a big margin. And then we also have the Abaddon bomber, which has also good repairs and resistance. So that one is also quite interesting to check out. Will be interesting to fly that ship. Unfortunately, I only have like one nanocore, one burning night nanocore. Again, they're very rare. They're super rare nanocores. Very few have them. So unfortunately, I mean, I think I could have picked more, but I gave out the nanocores to my corp mates because it would be evil to keep all the nanocores for myself, and I did not want to do that at the time. But yeah, this nanocore definitely is one of my favorites, and the first one that I made gold was basically looking for a ship for this type of use, this type of purpose. And since the Hyperion can work, but I just prefer the bomber over the classic Hyperion. This is much better because of the special module, has much more repair, and overall the developers definitely nailed it with the bomber battleships. Now still a little bit weird to call them bomber battleships with the current stats. I feel like they did not want to like do a direct copy from EVE Online, and I mean obviously they could have just added the ships without the bomber module and call them Marauders. They could easily do that, but they didn't. They wanted to do something different, and I guess they wanted something original in a way. So they fused bombers with Marauders, and that's how the bomber battleship was born. Now I'm not complaining, by the way. I actually I'm starting to really like the way bomber battleships work. They have a use. They're very tanky and they can launch bombs, which does make a very interesting combination, to be honest. The DPS is okay. I mean, obviously, the ship is not a DPS ship, and close to 2000 DPS is what I usually have. I'm roughly around the same number of DPS I have on the other tank battleships. I think it was 1.2 on the Hyperion, Balagon 1.4, 1.5, and on what was the other tanky ship I used to have? On the Tempest Navy it was roughly, I think 1.5, but that had barrage, so 3.5 thousand DPS. Then there was the Megathron Navy, which also was pretty close to the 1.8 or 1.9 thousand DPS, something like that. So overall, if you have a tanky build, your DPS in the end is not going to be that important. And these ships are one of the very few battleships that I would not glass build. I mean, you can obviously, you can make them a glass DPS if you like, but I don't really think that's the right thing to do with the bomber battleships. They're meant to be tanky, so they should be fitted with a tanky build, something similar to what I have at the moment. There's obviously 1,000 different builds that you can choose. This is just one of the 1,000 builds that you can use. So there's obviously a lot of different builds for these ships. I mean, I'm starting to think that I should use a afterburner or a micro overdrive in some cases. Depends on the target, really. An afterburner definitely would be much more useful than a micro overdrive, since the afterburner doesn't reduce your overall capacitor, and I feel like capacitor is definitely very important. So you can't just reduce your capacitor with a micro overdrive, since that capacitor will be the thing keeping your ship alive when repairing. Even with the Citadel module still having a huge amount of raw capacitor is quite beneficial. So an afterburner is definitely what I would fit. If I need a propulsion module, it would be an afterburner for sure, just because it's more capacitor friendly. For a glass build, I would use a micro overdrive, but at the same time, I don't think I would be using a glass build on the ship. It doesn't feel right. And probably the first ship where
We're under attack.
it legitimately doesn't feel right to fit it with a glass build. I mean, you can obviously, but you would be missing out on the core purpose for the ship, which is repair
We're
tank.
under attack.
Not exactly the same way with the Dreadnoughts, since Dreadnoughts can be glass fitted. They're huge ships, well, they were able to be glass fitted before super capsules were released, since they have a lot of hit points, and even before the implants were added, the Dreadnoughts were able to tank quite well with a glass build. Nowadays, the Dreadnoughts are also ships that should not be flown around without a good tank, since they can be, if you don't have a good build on your Dreadnought, it's going to be a snack for a super capital. Thankfully, my Dreadnought was always tanked through the roof. That's one of the ships that I'm actually very proud of, since the tank survived literally everything. That ship survived from start to finish. Never lost it, never will lose it. That revelation is a masterpiece. But very few Dreadnoughts will get to the same age as that revelation, since most of them are already destroyed by now.
Armor damage.
But yeah, that tank on that ship was just was beautiful. Now I don't have the rigs anymore, by the way. Sold them. So yeah, no longer flying the revelation. It was fun while it lasted, by the way. Definitely a ship that's going to be remembered. And I actually have it in the station, still there. I keep it as a museum piece now, since I no longer use it. I actually skilled out of Dreadnoughts, which is a good thing actually. I was able to put all these skills into normal ships, and I was able to have fun with the ordinary ships. I find them a bit more fun actually. However, the Marauder battleships now definitely feel like mini Dreadnoughts. They are very good with the repairers, and definitely brings back memories from the revelation. So I'm really happy with the new battleship edition. They are very good, which does make me excited for the new ships that will be added down the road. Cruisers, destroyers, frigates, all of them will be added, and they will have unique traits. Hopefully by then we will have utility high slots. I'm definitely looking forward for that huge change. More utility high slots means that medium slots would be used for other purposes, and maybe we will have something similar to what we have in EVE Online, with the Nosferatus being in high slot, Neutralitas being in high slot, and webs also, some stuff like that. I believe that's definitely something to look forward to. As I mentioned months ago, the game did become better and better. Of course, there are things that I don't like, there are things that keep the game afloat, but the game definitely is much better than it used to be. The updates are more engaging, I would say. But anyway, that was the new mission, and that was the Hyperion bomber with the new Nanocore. Well, not new Nanocore, but technically new, since new ship. But the Burning Night Nanocore is going
Autopilot
to
engaged.
work a lot, and I am actually looking forward to see what I do with this ship. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.